some of your holdings because
Sure.
they're interesting and they're not names a lot of people are familiar with, perhaps. Timken Company.
Sure.
It just made a deal with a firm in Saskatchewan, Canada. So it's an acquisitive company.
It is.
Is that why you like it? It's growing through acquisitions?
You know, actually, the reason we like Timken specifically is because it's a margin change story. So they acquired a company back in the early aughts, so around 2000, got rid of it. It was an underperforming asset, and the margins, the company's margins today are dramatically better than they were back then, and yet the market doesn't recognize that, and so it's not getting the multiple on its earnings that we would expect.
And it's an industrial name. What about competition? Because I would think that's a crowded space with some of the larger companies.
Sure. Well, it's actually one of the things we really look for in companies is our rational markets, and so it has it's in the bearing industry, and it's an oligopoly, so they have a great deal of pricing power.
Okay. Another one is Global Payments. When I looked at this one, it looked like its revenue was lagging behind some of its competitors a little bit.
So that's true. They had a bit of a hiccup in Canada last quarter, but the real thing that we really like about Global Payments is their exposure to the emerging markets, especially China, and card usage within China. And we think that that is a source of underappreciated growth for them going forward.
You also have some consumer names. They're always fun to talk about. Smucker, the jelly company.
Sure.
And Tupperware. And I said to myself, are people still using or buying Tupperware? I was sort of surprised to see it on the list.
Fortunately for us, a lot of people still ask that question, and that creates the inefficiency within the stock. And Tupperware is really an emerging markets play. I think that surprises many people.
That would make sense, actually.
They sell their traditional Tupperware in places like India and China, where they're growing fastest, but then they have a beauty business down in South America that's also growing quite rapidly.
And Smucker also acquisitive. So
Absolutely.
Is that another story that's a margin story or more potential to grow story?
You know, Smucker's is really the pricing on the coffee side. They've done a number of acquisitions within the coffee business, and so they've got the peanut butter side that offers a lot of stability, and then in growing margins and revenue in coffee.
What sectors are you finding the best opportunity in terms of some interesting names?
Sure. The areas that we're really focused on right now are some of the sectors that have been left behind. Producer durables and technology. You've really seen the market run with an eye towards safety, and some of the more economically sensitive stocks have gotten left behind within that.
And how would you describe the theme of your portfolio when you're approaching it and looking at these companies?
Well, we're very bottom up, and so our themes generally arise from the ideas that our analysts are bringing through. So we have a number of stocks focused on or within energy and within housing, but that is a direct reflection of where our analysts are finding stocks.